This again, David, welcome back.
Paul, thank you so much. Glad to be back.
Yes, sir. Real quick, I just want to pick your brain. What are your thoughts on what's going on in D.C. now? They got to 51 votes to begin debate on the Obamacare repeal bill. Have you been following this?
I have been following it ever since about 8 years ago. And it is, well, I'll tell you what, that is a swamp up there, and I think that the sewer analogy is appropriate as well. But I have been following it. I am just stunned that it takes the Vice President of the United States to step in and cast the last vote to take it over the hump, for them just to have a conversation about something they said they were going to do repeatedly over 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
It is just beyond imagination. I am just shocked beyond belief, and then just to hear some of the discussions that are ongoing on the radio and such of that nature, and it just it's so surprising that
you're right. And I'm staring at a headline right now. This was published a little while ago. So Susan Collins is from Maine. She is not on board with the repeal idea. This is from Fox News. Susan Collins, a Republican from Maine, apologized to Representative Blake Farenthold, a Republican from Texas, after she was caught on a hot mic making derogatory comments about Farenthold at the end of a Senate hearing on Tuesday. Quote, neither weapons nor inappropriate words are the right way to resolve legislative debates, Collins said in a statement. I received a handwritten apology from Representative Farenthold late this morning. I accept his apology, and I offer him mine. So she's overheard on this hot mic calling him fat and unattractive. And listen, this is what dawned on me. It's essentially high school. High school never ends, and that's kind of an answer to your question as to why they can't get anything done up there. Because, I mean, high schoolers have trouble getting things done. They might have more luck than adults at this point. So, right,
and it's it's like herding cats, and they just don't seem to have a common message. You thought that they had a common message for 7 years, where they were going to repeal Obamacare. And now it was difficult to even get the 52 people to come together to just have an affirmative vote on just starting the conversation. So, but maybe it's going down the right path. The president had said that he understood that this was probably the hard vote. Now the conversation can begin, and they can start making some legitimate, put some legitimate options on the table, so that they can get on to, ratifying some bill that they then can either take to committee or take a pass back over to the House.
Yeah.
But it certainly is going to take a lot of effort on their part. Then you've got the August, the entire month, vacation staring them in the face, and I think it literally took that to actually get them to make a vote. And who knows what will happen now? So it has to bump to the House. I guess the House has indicated they would come back.
Yeah.
If the Senate would do something. So I don't know what's going to happen, but at least it's headed in the right direction. And then next up is a budget.
Yes.
And
taxes, hopefully.
Tax reform and tax cuts. And yes, I'm excited about that.
I really hope they make the taxes retroactive, to this year.
I do too.
That'd be nice.
Hey, I was listening to some guys on the TV today. They said that the tax cuts that are proposed or they're being considered are actually not factored into the market yet. And then we've seen 29 new highs in the market ever since inauguration.
Yeah.
And this thing is smoking hot, but it's a earnings-driven market right now.
Yeah.
And they said that 76% of the companies reporting now are exceeding expectations and forecast. So, like Donald Trump said, is we're going to get sick and tired of winning. I'm not sick and tired of winning yet. I could stand about 3 or 4 more years of winning.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'm excited to see this is weird to say, how combative he is being and other people are being with the press, but I mean, it has to happen at this point when you just look at how unfair their coverage is, and it's really just because they lost and they're trying to take their ball and go home, and but that's interesting. So last week I had you on, and we were talking a little bit about Governor Hutchinson. He's been asking Senator Bozeman, Senator Cotton to essentially try to find a way to secure Medicaid funding for Arkansas, even though, everybody knew that it was going to go away eventually. John Brummett, an Asa Hutchinson apologist now, which I never thought I would say that. He's, in the media throwing a fit about Senator Cotton, Senator Bozeman voting the way the people wanted him to vote. But we were on the program last week, David, and you were mentioning the fact that, you'll have to.
The maintenance of a free society is a very difficult and complicated thing, and it requires a self-denying ordinance of the most extreme kind. It requires a willingness to put up with temporary evils on the basis of the subtle and sophisticated understanding that if you step in to do something about them, you not only may make them worse, but you will spread your tentacles and get bad results elsewhere.
I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. We lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
You're listening to the Paul Harrell Program, brought to you by Conduit Media Group.
Hey, folks, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for being with us. My name is Paul, as usual. Haven't changed my name or anything. The intersection of conservative ideas and reality. We are building a liberty machine, and we want you to help us out, be part of that. If you want to do that, one of the ways you can do that is to call us, text us. Let us know what's going on, 870-275-9799. That's 870-275-9799. I'm sick and tired of advancing a perception at the expense of reality. I really am sick of it. I'm watching these liberals on Twitter. And by the way, Twitter, as much as I love it, as much as I think it's useful, as much especially for you guys out there, if you're not on Twitter, you need to get on Twitter, and the first person you need to follow if you want Arkansas news would be the Paul Harrell Program, at Paul Harrell 1776. The second Twitter handle you should follow would be Conduit for Action. But I would say that it is a bubble. There was headlines out today that Twitter has failed yet again to grow their users, to grow the amount of people that are using it. And so what you have essentially is a lot of folks on Twitter get into this bubble. There's far more leftists out there on Twitter tweeting their really just mindless leftist talking points that they are regurgitating. And that is what I'm looking at here. And so I know it's a bubble, but at the same time, I want to ask some of these people who are now it is their right to attack Arkansas Republicans. It's their right to believe that repealing Obamacare is wrong, even though I believe it's the right thing to do. And here's where the issue I have with this. Here's one liberal Twitter, Julie. We talked about this Julie girl, I think the other day, because she was defending Asa Hutchinson, and we read some of her other tweets and retweets. We're just trying to kind of establish her as somebody who's firmly on the left. And when you get what is a glossary term, a PHP glossary term, left love, is when you get all this love from the left. Typically it comes from the leftist media, but it should set off red flags. What essentially I have done is, and let these shows in our archives be this, we are assembling a body of evidence that I believe, when looked at in an objective way, exposes the leadership of the Republican Party of Arkansas who's in elected office, and exposes Governor Asa Hutchinson as being a progressive and not a conservative. But here's this lady on Twitter, Julie. Arkansas incumbent representatives polling at 36%. They're citing a poll that we mentioned yesterday from Talk Business and Politics. And this is what she says, and I don't believe that poll. I do not believe those poll numbers because I have had, I don't know, I've been watching Arkansas politics for a while now. I've watched the state turn for a while now, and I know and understand, especially when we want to talk about the people that actually show up and vote, how you feel about Barack Obama's signature domestic achievement and why you elected Rick Crawford, Bruce Westerman, French Hill, Steve Womack, why the state of Arkansas put faith in these men, why you put faith in John Bozeman, why you put faith in Tom Cotton, and had a big reason. The big reason was Obamacare, to get rid of it. But we have these liberals on Twitter. They're citing what I believe are inaccurate polls. Arkansas incumbent reps polling at 36%. Still time to change your mind on ACA skinny repeal. So they're trying to stop the skinny repeal, which is a huge disappointment. I mean, we didn't talk enough yesterday about how the Senate Republicans abandoned the concept of being anti-socialized medicine. That's really sad to me because much like we've had Republicans in leadership positions here in Arkansas, I believe, advance the ball towards socialized medicine because they couldn't refuse federal money or they didn't think that that was the right thing to do, is much like them not repealing. It was Rand Paul's just a clean repeal bill. The fact that they abandoned that, history may very well show that that is going to lead us, that it's going to be a body of evidence, but lead to full socialized medicine where we have a single-payer system. And there will be rationing because if you're going to control costs in healthcare, Economics 101, the only way to do it is to ration it. But this is a phony perception that is being advanced at the expense of reality. Arkansas incumbent reps polling at 36%. Still time to change your mind on ACA. Now, look, you've got, I guess my frustration is, do you not see? I don't understand how somebody, even if you're on the left in Arkansas, I just don't see how you can claim that your opinion is the majority of the consent of the governed on this issue. It is so far from the majority opinion. And yet you're out there and you are attempting, in my opinion, to deceive people, trying to get them to say, to think, hey, all of the sudden, the state of Arkansas doesn't want these guys to support the repeal of Obamacare. Now, this is aided by our governor, Asa Hutchinson, the press conferences that he's done, disagreeing with the clean repeal bill, disagreeing with the Obamacare light repeal bill. But it's just frustrating to me. So let me show you some poll results of our own. Let's first go to Scott Rasmussen. Scott Rasmussen, of Rasmussen Polling. He has now, brought to you by Ballotpedia. They do this thing where Scott Rasmussen has his number of the day. And his number of the day is 15 million. And it's a poll. It says 15 million Americans would opt out of Obamacare coverage if they could. That is Scott Rasmussen's number of the day. Here's what he wrote. If the individual mandate were to be repealed and Americans were no longer required to purchase the Obamacare mandated levels of health insurance coverage, the Congressional Budget Office believes that 15 million Americans would no longer purchase such coverage. Some, including Jonathan Gruber. Remember Gruber? He was the one that was like, the stupidity of the American people is what helped Obamacare get passed. Jonathan Gruber believed that the CBO is overestimating the impact of repealing the mandate. Gruber was one of the architects of the law. Politically, the impact of these projections is significant since the individual mandate has long been the most unpopular part of Obamacare. Recent polling shows that 2/3 of Americans would like to see it repealed. For many, the idea of the government forcing anybody to buy anything is a conflict with America's commitment to individual freedom. Additionally, if the CBO projections are correct, there are 15 million Americans who would directly benefit from the repeal. Typically, when people are directly impacted by a law, their support or opposition is more intense than that of casual observers. So That's one poll. Or that's what, 15 million. We're talking about a lot of people here who stand to get a lot of relief if they actually go through with what they've campaigned on for several election cycles. And yet, I'm sorry to do this, but I keep going back to these liberal trolls on Twitter, and I just don't understand how it's one thing to be a liberal in a conservative state and to be a progressive and to believe in socialized medicine and to believe that Obamacare is good and to ask your congressman and to ask, hey, please don't do this, please don't do this. But then you try to advance this idea that the majority of people in Arkansas, I guess it's just frustrating to me. I just want these leftists to realize you guys are in the minority. Like the people of Arkansas, they don't want Obamacare, and you are claiming that they do. Think about that for a second. I mean, yeah, they've got polls too, and their polls are showing, Congressman Rick Crawford and Congressman Bruce Westerman and others. And I'm just sorry, I don't believe those numbers for a second. I mean, we're talking about an issue that gave the Republicans the House, that gave Republicans the Senate, and that's part of a big reason Donald Trump's in the White House. No, people of Arkansas have all of a sudden changed their minds, and now they want Obamacare. That may be true for big government, non-platform Republican politicians in Arkansas. They changed their minds because the federal government started paying them to. So, yeah, that's true for them. I don't think it's true for the people, though. A vast majority of the people. Again, use your freedom of speech. Speak out. If you're a progressive liberal in Arkansas, feel free to let everybody else know how crazy you are. But it drives me nuts to see that they're out there essentially, I feel like, trying to advance a fraud, a perception that is not true. It is not reality. Let's go to another poll. Let's go to Conduit for Action. Last week, I guess, we pushed out this survey. I posted a link to it. It was Conduit for Action survey, but I posted a link to it over at the Facebook page, facebook.com/Paul Talk Show. And we wanted you to fill out this survey. It wasn't very long. We filled it out online. You guys, so you guys could see what we thought of all of this. But here are the results, right? Last week, Conduit for Action ran a survey on its website and social media platforms to gauge how people felt about Obamacare at the federal level and Obamacare in Arkansas, specifically Arkansas Works. Question 1, do you support or oppose Obamacare? 4% support, 93% opposed, 3% unsure. Question 2, do you support or oppose Obamacare Medicaid expansion in Arkansas, previously the private option, now called Arkansas Works? 6% support, 93% oppose, 1% not sure. Question 3, do you support or oppose Governor Asa Hutchinson's plans to keep Obamacare Medicaid expansion, or Arkansas Works? 6% support that, 90% oppose, and 4% are not sure. Question 4. Sorry about that. Question 4. Do you believe that health insurance is a, quote, right, end quote, and should be paid for by the government, taxpayers, if the poor, uninsured, cannot afford it? Options are, it is a right. We need socialized single-payer health insurance. 6% said that they agreed with that statement. It is not a right. It should be treated like any other form of insurance. 43% said that they agreed with that statement. It is not a right. The elderly, disabled, and children should be covered, though, but not able-bodied working-age adults Medicaid expansion population. 50% agreed with that, and then 1% were not sure about any of the three questions. Question 5, what is your position on the repeal of Obamacare? 66% want it repealed. 20% want it to be repealed now and replaced later. 7% said that they wanted it repealed and replaced at the same time, and 2% were not sure. Responses to this Conduit for Action survey came from people all over the state of Arkansas. And the following cities were represented in their responses: Ashdown, Batesville, Bella Vista, Benton, Bentonville, Bethel Heights, Brooklyn, Cherokee Village, Conway, DeQueen, Dover, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Harrison, Hector, Hot Springs, Imboden, Jacksonville, Lake City, Lamar, Little Rock, Lowell, Marshall, Maumelle, Mena, Mountain Home, North Little Rock, Paragould, Pocahontas, Pottsville, Prairie Grove, Quitman, Rogers, Russellville, Searcy, Sherwood, Springdale, Waldron, Wiener, and West Memphis. This is the results of the survey up at conduit4action.org if you want to take a look at it or you want to share it. And I know it's on the social media platforms as well. So that's a look at Obamacare by the numbers. And I really think, like, you can, right now, you've got leftists out there that are trying to convince people on Twitter, oh, it's okay. Arkansas voters have now changed their mind, and they want the Washington, D.C. delegation to all of a sudden vote to keep Obamacare. And they're threatening them. I want you guys to know. I want you guys to know something. You have, and I say this with a lot of confidence, Republicans in Arkansas, Washington, D.C. delegation, voting to do what you said you were going to do, especially on an issue as big as Obamacare, you have nothing to fear. There is so much more of an upside to repealing Obamacare than there is a downside. And I know even there may be some of you that are like, I don't know. I mean, but look, if they were to get it really, really wrong, and that's a possibility, yeah. But the bottom line is to be able to say, I campaigned on repealing Obamacare. I've been elected this many times on that platform, and I kept my promise. How refreshing versus, the Democrats who have no ideas except for let's just put all of our money into a pot and divide it up equally. And then you've got, of course, the John McCains of the world, the Republicans who really have no intention of trying to stop the madness that is Obamacare, at least according to their vote from 2015 versus today. It's a shame. It's an absolute shame. All right, anyway, I just wanted everyone to know Arkansas is firmly an anti-Obamacare state. There are people trying to say otherwise. That's why all these AstroTurf, people, they all want town halls, and I'll prove it to you. It's AstroTurf. It's people, and the media is right there. I don't know. Remember when Tom Cotton had that town hall, and it made national headlines? Everybody showed up. Tom Cotton did a great job handling it all. But, yeah, everybody in that room, that was, if they were Arkansans, which I bet you some of them weren't, everybody in that room, that's all the people that voted against Tom Cotton in the election. And everybody else had other things to do than go there because we weren't worried about the votes that he was making. We got to take a break. 870-275-9799. Back in a minute. Arkansas small businesses are tired of taxes that are too high and regulations that work as obstacles to small business success. If you own a small business, it's time to take action. Now, I'm not talking about the local chambers of commerce. I'm talking about an organization that's actually run by small business owners and are fighting for small businesses right here in the state of Arkansas. They're called Conduit for Action, and they're on your side. Conduit for Action is here not to get something from the government, but to be left alone by the government. Think of them as your personal advocate for limited government at the Capitol in Little Rock. If you're tired of all the politicians talking with no results and ready for action, start outsourcing your government affair needs with Conduit for Action. Go now to conduitforaction.org and click on Contact Us on the right side of the page. That's conduitforaction.org and stand up for small business in Arkansas.
Welcome to the Arkansas Obamacare Hotline. We would be more than happy to help you enroll in Arkansas Obamacare today. We just need a little information about you. Let's get started. If you're disabled, pregnant, or looking for medical care for your child, the program is currently full, and there's no doctors to see you. Please hang up now. If you're an able-bodied adult, please press 1. If you're currently employed, we're sorry, but you most likely do not qualify for the program. Please quit your job and call back later. If you don't work and instead play video games all day with your cats in your grandmother's basement, please press 1. If you've never lived in Arkansas, press 1. If you currently live in another state, press 1. If you recently purchased a home in New Jersey for $750,000, please press 1. If your current identity has previously been used by another person, was created before your actual date of birth, or doesn't really exist, please press 1. Congratulations! It sounds like you're the perfect candidate to receive Arkansas Obamacare. Please stay on the line, and a hardworking DHS employee will be with you as soon as possible. While you're waiting, feel free to relax as your ambitions to gainful employment fade away. PHP Parody. Broadcasting across Arkansas and holding politicians accountable for what they say and do. The Paul Harrell Program.
Let me listen to some of these other. Call your reps if you live in Arkansas. Mention this poll and ask them to reconsider Affordable Care Act repeal. Hashtag ARPX. I mean, so much AstroTurf out there. If you live in Arkansas, I mean, perfectly within their rights. Within your rights to do it, but you're advocating an idea. You're advocating an idea as ridiculous as the fact that, there's that on the left they say, well, Democrats were the party of slavery, but then sometime in the '60s, everybody had this. We had like an armistice, and we all came together and decided to adopt each other's point of view and opinions. So Republicans just decided to be like, you know what? We don't want to be the Freedom Party anymore. We want to be the racist party. So we're going to go ahead and take that issue from you. And the Democrats were like, oh, yeah, you know what? We don't want to be the racist party anymore. We'll go ahead and be the Freedom Party. And so we're going to take your issue. Oh, okay, we agree. And that's actually, like everybody just switches sides. That's what the left, at least in the social media realm, that's what they're trying to do, putting pressure on these politicians, these Arkansas folks who've been elected by the people to go and repeal Obamacare. And they're now being told, and they're advancing this idea of, all of a sudden Arkansas just decided to change its mind, and it full-heartedly supports keeping the Affordable Care Act. And you know what? Here's the thing: if you're a politician, you want to be polite to everybody, But at what point? See, that's why I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle it. I'd be like, hey man, I ran on repealing Obamacare. What do you want me to do? Quit bothering me. Quit calling me. Like, that's what I would say. I'd say, be like, hey, I'm blocking your call. Well, I'm blocking your number. I don't agree with you. There's nothing I could do that would ever make you vote for me next election cycle. Now, this is a terrible attitude to have. I'm just saying, this is what I would be tempted to do if people were calling me, trying to pretend like, all of a sudden the entire state of Arkansas is now against, or all the people in my district are now against the one thing I campaigned on for the last 3-4 election cycles. I'd be very tempted to be like, yeah, I don't think you're ever going to vote for me. Matter of fact, I think if I were to change my mind and betray all the people that elected me, you'd still vote for the Progressive Democrat in the next election. It's so weird. I mean, and this is why the Republicans should be crushing it right now, because they do have such a mandate, and yet they won't do it because you've got special interests, you got people like John McCain, and these Republicans who are they're part of the establishment, and every now and then the establishment of the Republican Party, well, not every now and then, like all the time, the establishment of the Republican Party and the establishment of the Democrat Party, they have an agreed direction that they want to go. And if you ever try to actually turn the aircraft carrier around, which is a very slow and cumbersome process, all of a sudden the establishment Dems and the establishment Republicans, they unite arms and sing Kumbaya. And the spectacle, the fourth wall, the theater is exposed. The actual theater of these two different sides actually representing different ideas is exposed for all if you'll just look for it. We got to take a break. Back in a minute.
Paul Harrell, weekdays from 4 to 6. Learn more at paulharrell.com.
Hear Senator Cotton say himself that he actually did what Asa was giving him credit for, which was, the Medicaid expansion block grant. And I reached out to their office, and they really didn't confirm or deny it. I think they were trying to be polite and essentially saying, hey, we've relayed Asa's concerns up the chain to leadership, but they did not take credit specifically for securing the, Medicaid block grant for expansion, which Asa still doesn't support the bill. So, I mean, have you followed that anymore? And are you proud of how Tom Cotton and John Bozeman are doing exactly what they said they were going to do so far?
Well, I'm definitely proud that they voted to start the conversation for the repeal, and I'm thrilled about that. It'll be interesting to see what discussions occur throughout the rest of this week. I am a skeptic that the Senators Cotton and Bozeman did exactly what the governor mentioned that they did. I can't believe that they would do that and made it more difficult for them to pass the legislation that was being proposed by the Senate. But time will tell. But I'm really, really happy that Cotton and Bozeman voted in favor of the repeal legislation that's being considered right now before the Senate.
Yeah, me too.
It's a good thing. It's a very good thing that both of our senators stepped up and did that.
Yeah, and hopefully, I mean, what do you make of this? Like when John Brummett, I have this story. He's got a story out about irrelevancy. Yeah, John Brummett, irrelevancy in D.C., and in it he talks about how Tom Cotton and John Bozeman are betraying Governor Hutchinson if they go ahead and vote for this thing. I mean, what do you make of that?
Well, it's John Bozeman is upset because
you mean John Brummett? John Brummett.
Oh, John Brummett is upset because they're not going to keep Obamacare like it is in the state of Arkansas, and Asa Hutchinson is an advocate for keeping it the way it is. And for them to vote in favor of the repeal is contrary to what the governor desires. Mm-hmm. He wants to maintain Arkansas Works, and it's just it's regretful that our Republican governor is pushing that issue and wants to continue that, keep on that program in place that's put an additional 300,000 people on expanded Medicare.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that too is causes me to realize that we've got our own swamp in Little Rock, and we need to get it changed down there. It's just it's a big mess.
The exact quote in this piece that he wrote, he said it was a betrayal of his state. Now, earlier, I think in other publications or on Twitter, he talked about I don't know if he said betraying the governor, but he's dancing along those lines about. And I just like, how can you make that argument when John Brummett, one of the most liberal columnists.
Fighting dependency on government so Arkansas can be the land of opportunity once again. Paul Harrell is on now.
All right, 870-275-9799. I'd love to hear from you, your calls, your text messages. 870-275-9799. Coming up at the top of this next hour, we'll be talking with Fort Smith attorney Joey McCutcheon. We'll be back on the program. And now that we're broadcasting on our new affiliate, KFPW, The Marshall, I am excited that we'll be able to talk, bring some more specific Fort Smith area news because he is involved. Man, I'm telling you, Joey McCutcheon is like the law enforcement for Freedom of Information Acts. You know what I'm saying? Like he is like just so on top of it when it comes to the Freedom of Information Act and how we've got the best. This is the one thing Arkansas is going for it. We have the best Freedom of Information Act law in the entire country. And there was some funny business going on last time where people tried to mess with it a couple months ago, and it got beat back. Thankfully, people got informed. But anyway, I'm looking forward to talking to him about it, right? So tonight, this flew under my radar, though. Tonight, there's going to be, on television, KARK is going to host exclusive congressional forum with Arkansas's U.S. representatives. So check this out. Hashtag Your Voice Arkansas, right? Your Voice Arkansas will broadcast, KARK TV will broadcast an exclusive discussion with all four Arkansas congressional leaders from the United States House of Representatives. Okay? So tonight, you have Representatives Rick Crawford from Arkansas's 1st District, French Hill from Arkansas's 2nd District, Steve Womack from Arkansas's 3rd, and Bruce Westerman from Arkansas's 4th. The second part, it's going to be 2 parts. The second part of the forum will air Sunday, July 30th, during each station's regularly scheduled broadcast of Capitol View. So this is going to be, let's see, Jesse Turner, KARK political reporter and Capitol View host, will collect questions over the next week and present them to the Arkansas U.S. representatives. But this is happening. This is happening tonight, though, the 27th, right? July 27th starts at 6:30. Drew Petrimo is involved in this as well. So I decided to think, okay, well, how are they going to field these questions? Now, we just had a whole segment where we were talking about this AstroTurf, and we have these people who are trying to convince the representatives that everybody across the state voted for, well, respectively in your districts. I mean, everybody did vote for John Bozeman and Tom Cotton. But so they're trying to now convince you all of a sudden that the people don't want, a majority of the people, the majority of your voters, are mad at you for doing what you said you were going to do and repeal Obamacare. And we've analyzed this. There's an echo chamber on Twitter. There is a lot of people. I was reading one of Congressman's Facebook posts where he posted that this is what he was going to be doing, and they immediately get criticized. Well, you're not having a town hall. It's like, hang on a second. These town halls are of just a bunch of angry people that, I'm sorry, they don't represent. If you just look at what happened to Tom Cotton, I mean, yeah, he handled it great, but just a bunch of angry, rude people. You had some people when they were trying to, they said a prayer, had an invocation before everything, and they get upset that you're having a prayer at a public event. I mean, these are radical leftists that are coming here. We voted for them. We voted for the conservative choice, and now, everybody who voted against you will show up to the forum and try to make national media. And this is what they're being told to do, so they can get national media attention, so they can circulate it around, and then they can continue to advance this. It's like they don't understand that we just had an election. I mean, look at the margin some of these people won by. They're pretty substantial. So, and you want us to believe that all of a sudden, you look at the amount of people that voted for Trump in Arkansas, in the primary and in the general. Look at the amount of people that voted Republican. You want us to believe all of a sudden they've just changed their minds? But that's what the left is trying to do. And I'm worried about tonight. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm worried about the questions that our Republican delegates from the House are going to get tonight on KARK TV. I'm worried that they're going to be they're going to not accurately reflect the people. Because, look, if you want to submit your questions, go ahead. I don't know. It may be too late. Maybe it's probably too late. But Your Voice Arkansas, hashtag Your Voice Arkansas. Go over to Twitter, Joe. Go to the next page. And let's just, I went ahead and search for this. Go ahead and zoom in if you can. I went ahead and searched the hashtag on Twitter, hashtag Your Voice Arkansas. I just want you to give you a little preview. These are some of the questions that may be asked tonight on this. You've got Daniel on Twitter criticizing Representative French Hill. You co-sponsored a bill that allows folks outside Arkansas who can't pass a background check to carry in Arkansas. Why? Immediately, right off the bat, the first result the search query comes back at is somebody who's anti-Second Amendment. Then we have Ethan Williams. Hashtag Your Voice Arkansas isn't an acceptable substitute for a town hall. You see, they want these town halls to occur so that, I don't know, CNN can show up with some of their cameras and be like, uh-oh, the people of Arkansas, they've had it, trying to advance, I believe, a complete false notion. Do you remember when Tom Cotton had his town hall and everybody turns up and it's like they want you to think, all of a sudden Arkansas's just decided to change their mind. Now they're not conservative anymore. They really don't. And it's fake. It is a fake perception. It is a phony perception. It is a lie. And like I said, advancing a perception for the sake, sacrificing reality just for a perception. It drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. And I think there's a real underlying dishonesty to the whole thing. Again, it's one thing if you are progressive and you are a leftist and you just want to tell your congressman, hey, I'm a progressive leftist and I disagree that you are a Republican and you won and I want you to vote my way. You feel free to do all that. But when you're trying to advance a notion that, hey, everybody, we're going to try to force you to do you understand that elections have consequences, right? Elections have consequences. We all had to suffer under 8 years of Obama. We all had to, we were all worried about losing our health insurance, and we did lose our health insurance, and your health insurance doubled or tripled in some cases, and people can't afford it. And we watched the expansion of the welfare state under Obama. We watched him roll back welfare work requirements for food stamps. We watched the state of Arkansas take the bait. We watched the largest expansion of government in Arkansas history, and we're reaping the disastrous results of that right now. Elections have consequences, right? We had to watch, for 8 years, more and more stuff come out about Obama and Frank Marshall Davis and the Marxist tendencies and everything else. And, of course, that didn't affect anybody. Nobody cared about that. And everybody was like, oh, whatever. I think he's a nice guy. But it was a radical leftist, and he implemented radical leftist policies. And you know what we did? We formed a Tea Party. We threw out a bunch of people. In Arkansas, we went from a blue state to a red state. We're actually still kind of a purple state just because Republican leadership is still really their hearts with the Democrat Party. But aside from that, my point is elections have consequences. If you're a progressive liberal, exercise your free speech all you want, right? Demand town halls all you want, but I don't really know. I don't blame any of these people for not walking into a trap that is full of a bunch of people that don't represent the majority of the people. And look, this is where things happen. As long as your rights are not being violated, right, then the majority rules. And guess what? We had a Democratic election. You lost. So instead of trying to put out this phony AstroTurf and try to convince Republicans to vote for Obamacare, why don't you try to get relevant again in the state and actually you go grassroots and try to find people that are going to have ideas that Arkansans are going to vote for. Now, I think good luck. I don't think you're going to have any luck with that because I think you're not going to be able to do that in Arkansas with the Democrat Party because the Democrat Party implements the policies of the Democrats nationally, and the Democrat Party has a terrible platform. I mean, if you look at it, they booed God. They booed God back in 2012. So, good luck with that one. But go on, keep using your free speech, but quit trying to advance this perception that everybody in Arkansas all of a sudden is now wanting Rick Crawford, French Hill, Steve Womack, and Bruce Westerman to not vote to repeal Obamacare or to not continue this. And see, now the reason it's shifted on these House members now is because if they go through with the skinny repeal in the Senate, the House is going to have to vote on this again. That's the key point here. That's what you need to know. Listen to some of these other tweets, though. Yeah, sorry, Joe. Thanks for reminding me. Let's see. Hashtag Your Voice Arkansas. These are some of the questions that they might get tonight on this KARK event. Hey, Tom Cotton, did you consult with any women while you and 12 other men decided what women needed for health care? You see, not a lot of I don't know. These are all just very critical questions at our Arkansas delegation because they're conservatives or because they're Republicans. Let's see. How do you justify what Medicaid cuts will do to those who need it? Do you realize people will die? Oh, my goodness. Okay, come on. Come on. So at Medicaid Saves Lives puts a question out. I wonder if this one will be asked. If this one is asked, this whole thing is a complete joke. It's a complete scam. If they actually claim that Medicaid cuts are that people will die, if they actually ask this question, that's all you need to know. I can't believe that. And again, that's a phony perception. They want you to think, and there are some people on the left that have bought into the lie that the Medicaid cuts that are coming, if this actually happens and passes, which right now it's not looking so good because Republicans are really actually showing that as far as a party goes, as a whole, generally, they defrauded the American people by campaigning to repeal Obamacare. I don't think they're going to do it now. But there are people that believe that the Medicaid cuts that are coming they don't know it's about the expansion cuts. They think it's about the traditional Medicaid, right? And they're terrified of it. They bought into a lie. All right, then you got Darian. A strong economy and strong environmental policy are not mutually exclusive. Will you take steps to sync the two? Okay. A strong economy and strong environmental policy are not mutually exclusive. Will you take steps? Okay, so no, this is a global warming question. This is a question at French Hill. I wonder if he'll get it. I wonder if they'll ask it of him. I mean, what a global warming question. We have others. Heather, I would like to know if there is any line Trump could cross that would erode their support. If so, where is that line? Well, okay. Is there anything Trump could ever do that would make him lose your support? Yeah. Yeah, of course. You want me to say specifically? I mean, I don't know. Hopefully they won't get boxed into an Obama red line Syria debacle. Medicaid saves lives. Did you receive the same health care options as your constituents? Why should you get a premium health care plan while we suffer? Now, that might actually, let them, okay, whatever, let them answer that one. The next one, Medicaid Saves Lives says, Medicaid has the billing codes to see who shouldn't be using it, so why are you hurting the many people to get a few abusers? See, they don't want the focus to be on the people who are using this that don't need to be on it. Darian, here it is, Darian again, hashtag Your Voice Arkansas. Climate change will hit the agri sector and South the hardest. What are you doing to combat climate change? At Rick Crawford. Again, have you heard one question on this hashtag on Twitter yet? This is supposed to be used tonight to find the questions from the people at this congressional forum where all four delegates from the House are going to be on TV tonight. Have you heard one question that sounds remotely? Hey, when are you going to repeal Obamacare? Hey, I think there is one down here eventually. We keep going. Hashtag Your Voice Arkansas at Steve Womack. I'm planning a day of action to clean up some of your district. Would you commit to helping? Don't know what that means. Then we've got some of the KRK. I mean, here's another one. Justin on Twitter. Steve Womack and French Hill, quote, what is your plan to solve the student loan debt crisis? The student loan debt crisis. I don't know. Get people to pay their bills. Again, it's very easy to tell what direction. What is your mentality, right? What's your mentality? You can kind of tell. You can kind of tell their political leanings. What else do we have? Anything else? Oh, wow. Jim Hendren sends in a question. Senator Jim Hendren asks, let's see, Tom, I guess just asks all of them. This is for all four of them. Will you vote to remove Department of Defense from sequestration caps or support Senator Tom Cotton's effort to repeal the Budget Control Act? Hashtag Your Voice Arkansas. That one will probably get asked, if it hasn't already. Anyway, I just wanted to. I think this is. I think this is not going to be a good idea for our guys. I'm sorry, and I say our guys just in terms of those who are on. These are the guys who are clearly on the right, or at least they run on the right. And I just want everybody to know that there is an organized effort to put out a phony perception to make people think that citizens of Arkansas all of a sudden want these guys to do the opposite of what they campaigned on. And it's really a way to grow government. You could actually say it's one of the 6 techniques to grow government. Quote, prove, right? It's number 2. It's the number 2 technique to grow government. We've been going over these. Number 2 is false proof, where you have this effort. The media can use it. The government complex can use it. They try to prove what the people want, so government has to provide it. Right now, the left and the media is trying to prove that the people actually do want Obamacare, and actually they want Medicare for all, and they want a single-payer system, and they want to prove, and it's a false proof. It's a false proof, and they're so desperate that they're trying to perpetuate this fraud here in the state of Arkansas, which is ludicrous. Doesn't make any sense that they would even try this, that we would believe it. I mean, the progressive leftists all show up to the town halls, and everybody else, they have, I don't know what we're doing. Maybe we're working. I don't know. Is that too provocative? Look, I know there are people who are progressive leftist radicals who are hard workers and hold down jobs. So let me just say that. All I'm saying is, people of Arkansas have voted against Obamacare time and time again at the local level, all the way up to United States Senate, all the way up to the President of the United States. And yet, let's try to advance false perception at the expense of the reality of the situation which is the people of Arkansas, the people of this country want to see actual results, and they want Obamacare gone. They want it repealed. They want it over with. What are you going to replace it with? Well, what do you replace a dumpster fire with? What do you replace a dumpster fire with? The number is 870-275-9799. 870-275-9799. Let me know what you think. Back in a minute.
Whether you're looking for a small desktop copier and printer, thinking about adding color to your documents, or considering a document management solution, Total Document Solutions is there to help. In business for decades, Total Document Solutions is an independently owned company that specializes in the ability to provide a high level of service in Northwest Arkansas, the Arkansas River Valley, Southwest Missouri, and Southeast Kansas as an exclusive Platinum Authorized Sales Agent for the Xerox Corporation. At Total Document Solutions, they offer customers technology services to improve business results. Their dedicated sales team has the unmatched industry knowledge, professionalism, and expertise needed to address the unique challenges of your business. Total Document Solutions is independent, local, and well-connected to serve your office products and document needs. Call them today at 479-575-0770. That's 479-575-0770 for your Total Document Solutions.
Good morning. Good morning. Congratulations, you have made it to the Bureau of Carefully Crafted Language, where we strive to offer politicians the very best in ambiguously specific language, the purpose of which is to allow our politician bosses to grow government and keep their constituents in the dark. This yields 2 beneficial outcomes. First, the government-growing politicians stay in office, and second, we at the Bureau of Carefully Crafted Language get to remain in the shadows and get to keep our jobs. Now, it's time for technocrat training drills. Johnny?
Yes?
A politician wants to use the healthcare system to punish those who have and redistribute their wealth. What is the appropriate language to use in this situation to make an unpopular idea acceptable to the public?
I would emphasize that these ideas would make their healthcare more affordable and make sure the public understands if they already have adequate healthcare, nothing will change for them.
Very good, Johnny. Much progress since last time. Next up, let's have Susie. Susie, your politician has been caught in, dare I say it, a lie.
What kind of a lie?
It doesn't really matter, but in the spirit of the Bureau of Carefully Crafted Language, I will give you a good hypothetical scenario. Dozens of politicians have been thrown out of office for supporting a socialist healthcare program. So the remaining politicians get together and they pass a bill to, quote, end the program, end quote. But they really want to keep it. What should they do, Susie?
May I ask a question for more information? Certainly.
Has the word lie been used by the political opposition?
Yes.
I know. They should change the name of the program. Maybe use the word works to make the sheeple think it's for working folk. Then they should go on the attack and get the public distracted. I would advise the politician to publicly question why our political dialogue has become so uncivilized and tell them to claim using the word lie, no matter how accurate, is a personal attack on his or her character. And if they admit to any wrongdoing at all, they must replace the word lie with words like misspoke, misstatement, misrepresent, or mislead.
Amazing! Excellent work, Susie. I feel like the student has really become the teacher. You will make a terrific addition to the Bureau of Carefully Crafted Language.
All hands on deck. This is a Bureau of Carefully Crafted Language emergency. Several politicians are scrambling after being exposed by some talk radio host. Let's move it, people. They need our help.
The Bureau of Carefully Crafted Language. You vote 'em in, and we keep 'em in. PHP Parody.
State House Committee learned on Tuesday, according to Michael Wickline, that asbestos was found in 2 meeting rooms and in adjoining offices that will be renovated in the next several months at the state capitol. They like to do this. They renovated I think, 2 rooms last year. The panel then approved $1.13 million worth of contracts for the renovation project, including $39,400 for asbestos removal and an asbestos consultant. That is not to make, I guarantee you, that's not going to make Representative Kim Hendren very happy, because back in January the 18th of this year, State Representative Kim Hendren walked into his committee room, and found that it had been renovated and was not too pleased.
Sir, Representative Hendren. I'm sorry I'm late, but I get mixed up with where I'm supposed to be down here. Well, I understand. Forgive me for being late. And I also had to make a visit the other end that some of you will understand. But anyway, a couple of questions. First one is, this renovation of these committee rooms, how much did it cost? I don't know that anybody in this room can answer that. Do you know, Ms. Thomas, what the cost was? I'm going to guess it's more than a couple $100. Well, who paid for it? You did, and the other 3 million citizens of the taxpayers of Arkansas. Let me see if my credit card's still in my billfold. I thought it was there. I didn't know I paid for this. You helped. That's the first question. I would request. I'm going to call the Bureau, and I was late here already. I would like to have a report of what this costs to do these renovations and what's it planned to be spending next door. I went over just now and took a picture of the way this used to be, which is the way it's at 138, and then I took a picture of this. And some people get after me for twittering, but I'm fixing to Twitter again. I'm going to send, because frankly, colleagues, I don't like this. I can't see what this guy's doing here. I can't see what you're doing behind this chair. And these guys down here can't see what I'm doing. Now, maybe we like that better, but I don't.
Yeah, the sight lines on the new rooms, they bought the new chairs. If you go back and look, because like I said, there's still some committee rooms that haven't been renovated, and they still have the old tables, the old chairs, and then they replace it with new tables. I mean, it just looks really good. I mean, it's much, much prettier than the old rooms, but the chairs are taller. It's much more of a, I don't know, you are an Arkansas politician, so you need a taller chair. You need anyway. You really can't see as well because of the way things are. I mean, and you've got the committee chairmanships, vice chairman. They're now up, kind of elevated. I guess they've always been elevated, but it just really feels like a hear ye, hear ye. That's kind of what it feels like. Yeah, anyway, Kim Hendren wasn't too happy about that. I'm sure he's not going to be happy that the renovations at the Marble Palace in Little Rock continue. Probably throw a little bit more marble on the walls, right? I mean, it is the Marble Palace. It deserves it.
Rush, Glenn, Sean, and Paul. This is Jonesboro's 1013 FM News Talk, KBTM.
Paul Harrell, weekdays from 4 to 6. Learn more at paulharrell.com.
Is pushing that issue and wants to continue that, keep on that program in place that's put an additional 300,000 people on expanded Medicare.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that too is causes me to realize that we've got our own swamp in Little Rock, and we need to get it changed down there. It's just it's a big mess.
The exact quote in this piece that he wrote, he said it was a betrayal of his state. Now, earlier, I think in other publications or on Twitter, he talked about, I don't know if he said betraying the governor, but he's dancing along those lines about. And I just how can you make that argument when, John Brummett, one of the most liberal columnists in the state, he knows that John Bozeman campaigned twice against Obamacare and repealing it. He knows Tom Cotton campaigned in the House and then in the Senate. I mean, so how can he say our state's being betrayed when Republicans have been talking about getting rid of Medicaid expansion for several election cycles now? It just doesn't compute to me.
Well, I mean, he's a liberal. I mean, it's just what else can I say? The man is liberal, and he's going to advocate for the liberal agenda. The regretful thing is that out of that, in that same article, he lifts up Hutchison for his position for the liberal Obamacare, and it's just, and if people truly stand back and just read it, it's amazing. Here's the other thing too: over the years, all of the legislature that voted in favor of private option, that wanted to continue to expand, and it has done so with Arkansas Works, have said all along, we're only doing this until the legislature, the Congress and the presidency makes the decision to repeal Obamacare.
Yes, exactly.
And so that's been their talking point.
Get the presidency, and then we need to repeal it. At the federal level, it's a D.C. problem. Even like John Burris on Twitter, if you ever criticize John Burris on Twitter, he would say, hey, just run for Congress, meaning it's not a state problem. You need to go to Congress if you want to deal with that. And so that's a great point. Now that we have all of that stuff, it's not good enough for the same faction, the same Republican faction in Arkansas, which I'm going to loop former representative and John Burris, who lost to Scott Flippo in with Asa Hutchinson, because it's all this kind of a cesspool there. You just raise a great point, David. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, it's the point, because they continue to make it to us, and it really it almost cut off the talking discussions back and forth with them throwing that back out at us, and so now we're to a point where that is going to occur, and the senator, the governor and many of the legislators are saying that they shouldn't do that. So that's regretful. Very regretful.
So we're talking with David Crow from the Arkansas Tea Party Alliance. The reason we're talking to him is because we've got the third annual Arkansas Tea Party Alliance Convention coming up Saturday, September the 16th. We still got plenty of time to get tickets. Folks, if you want to get tickets, you go to our Facebook page. We've got it pinned at the top. It's facebook.com/Paul Talk Show. That's the Paul Harrell Program Facebook page. And there's a link to the Eventbrite page. Tickets are $30. And it's from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, September the 16th, at the Doubletree. Is that correct?
That's correct. The Doubletree, and also the Robinson Auditorium, brand new banquet facilities. It is going to be one heck of a day. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of good opportunity to mix with the folks from around the state. So please come out.
Yeah, and
The maintenance of a free society is a very difficult and complicated thing, and it requires a self-denying ordinance of the most extreme kind. It requires a willingness to put up with temporary evils on the basis of the subtle and sophisticated understanding that if you step in to do something about them, you not only may make them worse, but you will spread your tentacles and get bad results elsewhere.
I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. We lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
You're listening to the Paul Harrell Program, brought to you by Conduit Media Group.
All right, folks, welcome to the program. Thanks so much for being with us. It is hour number 2, the intersection of conservative ideas and reality. We are building a liberty machine. I'd like to welcome back to the program. We have Fort Smith attorney, Mr. Joey McCutcheon, joins us again. Joey, thanks for coming back on, sir.
I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me on, Paul.
Yes, sir. I previewed this segment last hour, and I said that you're basically like the law enforcement for Freedom of Information Acts here in Arkansas. And then I even said, look, we've got the best Freedom of Information Act in the country, or one of them anyway. You agree with that?
I do, Paul, but the problem is, as you saw in the last legislative session, that there were numerous bill after bill after bill that were attempts to dismantle the Freedom of Information Act. And as we both know, government's too powerful, and the Freedom of Information Act is just one vehicle to hold government accountable. And it's so important that we've got to fight for it. We've got to fight for it at the legislature, and we have to enforce our rights in the public, and we have to hold governing bodies accountable.
Well, and you've certainly done that. Most recent headline, I think, the city of Fort Smith, right? You've been involved, or you're involved in a lawsuit because they're trying to do the business of the city in secret via email. Is that correct?
Yeah, we've seen that in a couple of different ways in Fort Smith. A lawsuit that we just completed was against the Fort Smith School Board, who, through an open meetings request, or through a open records request, I requested documents and saw that there were email chains that were being circulated in which they were electing their officers in a secret email chain with no notice to the public. Subsequently, after months of fighting, and frankly after the school board fought this to the bitter end and ended up paying their lawyer thousands upon thousands of dollars, which was another waste of taxpayer money, the judge granted a summary judgment in the people's favor and said that the Fort Smith School Board in fact held a meeting, had violated FOIA, and enjoined them from ever doing it again. But what you were referring to is another suit that Bruce Wade, who's a Fort Smith citizen, has recently filed. I filed on his behalf, in which the same type of conduct was occurring by the city of Fort Smith by city council folks. And they were conducting business, having discussions, and taking votes regarding business that was likely to come before the city board.
And so they do that on government emails, or do they use maybe a private email to do it? I mean, how do you go about something like that?
Yeah, well, the Fort Smith School Board was, they have email addresses, and they include everyone on the chain, and they just have their discussions. I mean, and I suspect this is going on all over the state. It's kind of like, it's no different than going down to the local McDonald's or a local restaurant and the group getting together in back and just doing their business back there. In this context, it just occurs on an email chain.
Wow, that's exactly right. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, come on down to Mickey's Diner, and we're going to get the real business of the people done. So that's interesting. We're talking with Joey McCutcheon. He is a attorney in the great city of Fort Smith. So give us an update on the ecclesia. Now, I mean, I know folks are aware of this, but I'll just kind of give you a reminder. You have Ecclesia College that is in this indictment, involved in this indictment with that, of former state representative Mike Neal, John Woods. And, they're taking this GIF money, and, of course, the indictment alleges that it was laundered through a consulting firm and everything else. It's real messy, and it illustrates just a ton of stuff, just a ton of problems with general improvement funds and everything else. But you are a part of a suit that says, look, because they are a private college, but because they took government money, taxpayer money, they now have to comply with Freedom of Information Act, right?
Sure. I mean, if they're going to take literally hundreds of thousands, I think it was between $600,000 and $700,000 of taxpayer money, then they should be accountable. Again, it's about accountability. But the ironic thing is that Ecclesia has been represented in the past by Representative Bob Ballinger. And at the same time that he is taking legislative dollars and funneling them through this gift money to the college. So you see all these entanglements where you've got government giving money to a private college. I mean, look, these gift funds were meant to benefit local public organizations, is my understanding. And you've got to ask yourself the question, why are a group of legislators giving money to a private college? And the ironic thing is when we filed this suit, all we were asking for was just give us the documents. We just want to see the documents. And they have fought tooth and nail. They've tried to have the case dismissed twice now. First case they tried to have the first time they tried to have it dismissed, they said that we didn't have our hearing within 7 days. I mean, it was pretty clear that statute was designed to make government produce records quickly. Yet they were trying to argue that the case should be dismissed because we hadn't had a hearing within 7 days. The most recent dismissal, which was bizarre, again, when you're digging yourself a hole, you need to stop digging. But they claim that this college is not really a college; it's a church. They actually say it's a church. So now they're in violation of Article 2, Section 24 of our Arkansas Constitution, and we've asked that we've amended our complaint and asked the court to find that there was an illegal exaction and the taxpayers should get that money back.
Yeah, that's a good question. So you're saying if they are a church, if they're now claiming to be a church, then taxpayer money doesn't need to be going to support that. Is that what you're saying?
In effect, yeah, that's right, because it violates our Arkansas Constitution.
Wow, yeah.
Specifically our Arkansas, like states across this nation, if you'll look up the constitutions of our states, you'll see that in every constitution they put their articles of declaration first. And in essence, what that is the Bill of Rights in our state constitution, and it's right up at the front. Paul, and I just can't say, I mean, that's where our freedom is. Mm-hmm. And if we start compromising these articles, these Bill of Rights away, we're going down a dark path. And that's why the FOIA is so important, and every mechanism that holds government accountable. And, there's only certain ways to hold government accountable. And one of them is the ballot box, all right? The second one, as our founders knew, and every state ratification convention, when they were ratifying our Constitution, it was the right to trial by jury was number two. That's the second way to hold government accountable. The third way is, we're going to enforce our Second Amendment rights, and that's the way we're going to hold government accountable. So And then, obviously, we've talked about another mechanism, which Winthrop Rockefeller in 1967 found so important, and was his crowning achievement was the Freedom of Information Act.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the last legislative session, we see government, i.e. legislators, trying to gut 2 out of the what I call 4, the Freedom of Information Act, which could have gone from the strongest to virtually one of the weakest if they would have got past what they wanted to pass. And secondly, what they call tort reform, that is going to, in effect, do away with the right to trial by jury that our founders envisioned.
Let's do this.
It's all about accountability.
Yeah, we're talking with Joey McCutcheon from Fort Smith. He's calling. He's on the phone. We appreciate it. And we've just talked Freedom of Information Act. You just mentioned tort reform. I want to take a break, if you can stay with us during the break, Joey, and then let's come back and let's tackle this tort reform issue that we're all going to be voting on next November. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, folks, we're going to take a break. The Liberty Machine rolls on. Back in just a moment. More with Joey McCutcheon.
Arkansas small businesses are tired of taxes that are too high and regulations that work as obstacles to small business success. If you own a small business, it's time to take action. Now, I'm not talking about the local chambers of commerce. I'm talking about an organization that's actually run by small business owners and are fighting for small businesses right here in the state of Arkansas. They're called Conduit for Action, and they're on your side. Conduit for Action is here not to get something from the government, but to be left alone by the government. Think of them as your personal advocate for limited government at the Capitol in Little Rock. If you're tired of all the politicians talking with no results and ready for action, start outsourcing your government affair needs with Conduit for Action. Go now to conduitforaction.org and click on Contact Us on the right side of the page. That's conduitforaction.org, and stand up for small business in Arkansas. Whether you're looking for a small desktop copier and printer, thinking about adding color to your documents, or considering a document management solution, Total Document Solutions is there to help. In business for decades, Total Document Solutions is an independently owned company that specializes in the ability to provide a high level of service in Northwest Arkansas, the Arkansas River Valley, Southwest Missouri, and Southeast Kansas as an exclusive Platinum Authorized Sales Agent for the Xerox Corporation. At Total Document Solutions, they offer customers technology services to improve business results. Their dedicated sales team has the unmatched industry knowledge, professionalism, and expertise needed to address the unique challenges of your business. Total Document Solutions is independent, local, and well-connected to serve your office products and document needs. Call them today at 479-575-0770. That's 479-575-0770 for your Total Document Solutions. Do you need to advertise your business product or service, but not sure what the best choice is? Folks, allow me to introduce you to talk radio. You're listening to it right now. Talk radio is one of the most unique mediums in all of advertising because it actually works. It gets the information you want to the people you want to get it to. And by the way, those people are educated, well-informed decision makers of their household, and most of them have disposable income. If this is a target audience for your business, then you have to consider advertising on my show, The Paul Harrell Program. We have options for most any budget and can provide you with exciting opportunities to grow your business. We can put your message across the state, or we can help you locally. Call 870-275-9755 if you have any questions. That's 870-275-9755, or visit my website, paulharrell.com, and click on Advertise.
Need to get something off your chest? Then call or text Paul now, 870-275-9799.
We're back here with Mr. Joey McCutcheon. Joey is a Fort Smith attorney. He joins us now via phone. Joey, thanks for coming on once again and hanging with us through the break.
You bet. Glad to be here.
So the tort reform. Now, I'm a limited government conservative, and I like tort reform. The concept of it has been appealing to me for a while. But then when what happened down to the legislature this last session, my definition of tort reform doesn't quite match up with the definition of the establishment that has now put this on the ballot for us to vote on next election cycle. And so now we seem to be having quite a fight of the titans brewing between the nursing home industry that supports it and trial attorneys that are very much opposed to it. What are your thoughts on tort reform?
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see that the fight is all. I see it. I see the fight being between citizens who are concerned about preserving their rights and special interests who want to take away those rights. That's the battle. Paul, this isn't about trial lawyers. Look, I mean that's what these legislators who are trying to push this out. That's the easy sell, bash the trial lawyers and take away the people's rights. I mean, what this is about is an attempt to take away our rights. As conservatives, as most of the folks are on this show, we believe in the concept that if you break it, you fix it. Mm-hmm. But what this so-called tort reform says is it tells wrongdoers that you only have to pay a fixed part of the harm you caused. And you know what that leaves, Paul? You know who's left holding the bag? The taxpayers, because we're gonna pick up the tab for the rest of the harm, and it's as simple as that. And nursing home owners like Michael Morton, they don't care if the taxpayers pick up the rest of the tab, but you and I do, and that's exactly what will happen. And in addition, I mean, you said that tort reform is nothing more than government-mandated limits on individual rights.
Yeah.
We're always talking about how we believe in local control. I'm not sure there's anything more local than 12 citizens listening to specific facts and coming up with what's right or wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what our founders envisioned.
Yeah.
And that's why Thomas Jefferson believed so greatly in the right to trial by jury.
Yeah.
When he said, I consider the trial by jury as the only anchor yet imagined by man by which a government can hold to the principles of its Constitution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And isn't there even such a thing as, jury nullification, right?
Right. Sure.
I mean, and that's such a powerful thing. I mean, that's what I think that's one of the checks on government is like, hey, the government might be prosecuting or doing something that's just completely unreasonable. And, 12 of your peers are like, yeah, I think they're out of line here. And that is, certainly a check on power that we need to maintain. The reason, Joey, the reason I mentioned the trial attorneys is, and look, I know it's easy to say, oh, the trial attorneys, you guys are too rich or whatever, and what this tort reform bill does, and I've taken some criticism. There was some blog post about something that I said on the radio. I just don't believe that the government should have the authority to tell anybody, regardless of whether you are an attorney or whether you're a radio host, how much they can charge for their services. And I think on the principle, I'm right in point. I would stand with the trial attorney's right to make whatever they need to make, just like I wouldn't want the government telling me, "Hell, you can't sell that radio ad for that much money. That's unfair." I mean, you agree with that, right?
Well, look at the Republican Party platform. What does it say about free market economy? I mean, and I agree 100% with it. So where do they go next? Now they're going to tell trial lawyers that when folks come in that we can't charge a certain percentage. Yet, I bet Michael Morton and his nursing homes, they ain't going to limit how many hours and what the fee that Michael Morton's lawyers can charge. So all they're doing is creating an unequal playing field. But the concept of free market. So where do they go next? Next, it's going to be painters. They're going to tell a painter how much he can charge folks. They're going to tell real estate brokers, well, that you can't charge that percentage. They're going to tell your show how much you. So it's a very slippery slope. SJR 8's nothing more than a Trojan horse. It's just like issue 3. Remember issue 3, Paul?
Yes.
Remember they sold issue 3 as a a constitutional amendment that was going to check that was ethics based. Yet when folks never read down to the bottom of it, and what did it say at the bottom of it? Oh, well, it created all these new creatures that would increase legislative pay and increase term limits, and people didn't know what they were voting for.
Yeah.
So education is key in this.
Yeah, I'm going to say, you think that's going to happen again? I mean, how? I don't have the ballot title in front of me. But I mean, how are folks going to realize? Because it's very discouraging. Thomas Jefferson also said that an educated citizenry is indispensable to the proper functioning of a republic. And so you've got the last two issue threes. One of them was just about jobs, but it didn't really say anywhere in there that this was going to allow the state of Arkansas to go into debt in the form of bonds, an unlimited amount. The issue 3 before that was about setting term limits when, in fact, the real thing that it did was extend term limits. And so there, when the legislature puts a ballot initiative before the people, we have very recent results that show that it was just complete fraud. It was outright deception. And so, and yet everybody votes for it, overwhelmingly. So how do we combat that, Joey? How do we get people to realize, hey, you need to be very careful when you vote on these issues?
Right. I think it's just what we're doing now. We're having a discussion about the specifics about it, and I think we need to be talking in Kiwanis, and we need to be talking in Tea Party meetings, and educating folks about really what this SJR is. I mean, it's a Trojan horse. What it's doing is asking people to vote to take their own rights away. Paul, our Constitution was ratified on October 13th, 1874. That's about 142 years ago, and it was very, very stout in terms of the right, when it says that the right to trial by jury shall remain inviolate. And our Constitution went a step further, and our founders put in our Constitution that no law shall be enacted limiting the amount to be recovered for injuries resulting in death or for injuries to persons or property.
Wow.
And they did that for good reason, because the railroads were running over people back in the day. And they knew how important it was to allow juries to make that decision, because if juries aren't allowed, then conduct rewarded is conduct repeated. Wow. And it makes our world an unsafe place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it, and so that's what 142 years ago, and this legislator gave the people 25 minutes.
Sorry, go ahead, Joey. Keep going.
Yeah, sorry about that. The legislature in this last session gave the people 25 minutes to make their case. Rose Mims, with the Arkansas Right to Life, was on the list to testify, and they denied her the right, her right to testify.
Yeah.
Rose was going to tell them that she thinks that this is against the right to life. This amendment sets a price tag on human life of $500,000. You kill a child, you kill a stay-at-home mom,
yeah.
You kill an elderly person in the nursing home, they put a price tag on that life of $500,000.
Joey McCutcheon, Fort Smith attorney, we appreciate it, sir. Thank you for your time. We're going to do this again, and we're going to continue to get the word out, okay? Thank you so much.
Hey, that sounds good. I appreciate you, Paul.
All righty. Thank you, Joey. Folks, back in a minute.
Paul Harrell, weekdays from 4 to 6. Learn more at paulharrell.com.
And expanded and created a welfare program, the largest expansion of government in Arkansas history. Anytime you did that, they say, hey, look, this is something we need to get the House, we need to get the Senate, we need to get the presidency, and then we need to repeal it. At the federal level, it's a D.C. problem. Even like John Burris on Twitter, if you ever criticize John Burris on Twitter, he would say, hey, just run for Congress, meaning it's not a state problem. You need to go to Congress if you want to deal with that. And so that's a great point. Now that we have all of that stuff, it's not good enough for the same faction, the same Republican faction in Arkansas, which I'm going to loop former representative and John Burris, who lost to Scott Flippo in with Asa Hutchinson because it's all this, kind of a cesspool there. Right. You just raised a great point, David. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, it's the point because they continue to make it to us, and it really it almost cut off the talking discussions back and forth with them throwing that back out at us, and so now we're to a point where that is going to occur, and the senator, the governor, and many of the legislators are saying that they shouldn't do that. So that's regretful. Very regretful.
So we're talking with David Crow from the Arkansas Tea Party Alliance. The reason we're talking to him is because we've got the third annual Arkansas Tea Party Alliance convention coming up Saturday, September the 16th. We still got plenty of time to get tickets. Folks, if you want to get tickets, you go to our Facebook page. We've got it pinned at the top. It's facebook.com/Paul Talk Show. That's the Paul Harrell Program Facebook page. And there's a link to the Eventbrite page. Tickets are $30. And it's from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, September the 16th, at the Doubletree. Is that correct?
That's correct. The Doubletree and also the Robinson Auditorium, brand new banquet facilities. It is going to be one heck of a day. It's going to be a lot of fun, a lot of good opportunity to mix with the folks from around the state. So please come out.
Yeah, and the theme is always liberty doesn't matter. That's what people are going to be talking about. Of course. You and I, David, we believe liberty does matter. It's what a crazy idea.
It does. Yeah, it's a crazy idea. And boy, I tell you, I meant to say this earlier. The Calvin Coolidge Awards banquet was top drawer the other night. Super, super, super.
I had a blast as well.
Really enjoyed that. But boy, I tell you what, the Arkansas Tea Party Alliance convention is the place to be on September the 16th, and I hope people will come out and enjoy the Mike Gallagher and Pastor Iverson Jackson and the legislative panel of Miller Sullivan and Linda Collins Smith and another senator hopefully will join them, and then AFP, Family Council, Acre, and Conduit. We're going to be there with us and should have a great day.
Yeah, it's going to be great, and you don't have to be a member of a Tea Party to attend. If you're conservative, if you want limited government, if you want to see that positive change, you're going to meet a lot of great people, a lot of great minds, and get a ton of great information. It's the Arkansas Tea Party Alliance, September 16th, and tickets, you can get them at facebook.com/Paul Talk Show. Just click on the link that's pinned at the very top of the page. David Crow, as always, sir, you have a mind focused on liberty, and it's always enlightening to talk to you.
Thank you, Paul. Look forward to next week, man.
All righty. Folks, we're going to take a break. The Liberty Machine that we're building here rolls on, and we'll be back in just a moment.
The Paul Harrell Program.
I say on a couple of levels. I know you guys know this. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, literally. I'm sick and tired of the leaks that are coming from inside the American government, whether it's the White House, whether it's the deep state, whatever it is. I just think it's unprecedented. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it. So you've got this Anthony Scaramucci guy, the new White House communications director. And Ryan Lisa over at The New Yorker has a very interesting piece. And, there's even talk and threats of, hey, maybe the entire White House communications staff has to be let go in order to stop the leaks. This is reporter Ryan Lisa. Now, he's writing like, hey, this is totally acceptable. But listen to this opening paragraph. I just find this very interesting. He says, on Wednesday night, I received a phone call from Anthony Scaramucci, the new White House communications director. He wasn't happy. Earlier in the night, I tweeted, citing a senior White House official, quote, senior White House official, end quote, that Scaramucci was having dinner at the White House with President Trump, First Lady Sean Hannity, and the former Fox News executive Bill Shine. It was an interesting group and raised some questions. Was Trump getting strategic advice from Hannity? Was he considering hiring Shrine? But Scaramucci had his own question for me. Who leaked that to you, he asked. I said I couldn't give him that information. He responded by threatening to fire the entire White House communication staff. Quote, what I'm going to do is I will eliminate everyone in the comms team and we'll start over. I laughed, not sure if he really believed that such a threat would convince a journalist to reveal a source. He continued to press me and complain about the staff he's inherited in his new job. I asked these guys not to leak anything. They can't help themselves. You're an American citizen. This is a major catastrophe for the American country. So I'm asking you as an American patriot to give me a sense of who leaked it. In Scaramucci's view, the fact that the word of the dinner had reached a reporter was evidence that his rivals in the West Wing, particularly Reince Priebus, the White House chief of staff, were plotting against him. While they have publicly maintained that there's no bad blood between them, Scaramucci and Priebus have been feuding for months. After the election, Trump asked Scaramucci to join his administration, and Scaramucci sold his company, Skybridge Capital, in anticipation of taking on a senior role. But Priebus didn't want him in the White House and successfully blocked him for being appointed to a job until last week when Trump offered him the communications job over Priebus's vehement objections. In response to Scaramucci's appointment, Sean Spicer, an ally of Priebus, resigned. Now, of course, doesn't Spicer deny that he resigned because of Scaramucci? Resigned his position as press secretary. And in additional slight to Priebus, the White House's official announcement of Scaramucci's hiring noted that he would report directly to the president rather than to the chief of staff. Folks, something's going on here. I don't know, but I've been watching the headlines all day. It happened first thing I got up this morning. All of the news sites, they're all saying that there's a feud between this new, communications director, Scaramucci, and Reince Priebus. So I don't know what's going to happen, but the leaks, there's no question that the leaks are undermining the president of the United States. There's just no question about that. And some people are now saying, even though I think they've deleted some tweets or something, but some people are now saying, hey, is Reince Priebus the guy that's actually leaking all this stuff? Is that him? Reince Priebus is an establishment guy. I don't know. Look, I've said this before. The election of Donald Trump was amazing. It was amazing. It was a reprieve. In my opinion, it was a blessing compared to Hillary Clinton. The thought of Hillary Clinton being in office. I mean, it's just, I can't even think about it. And I really feel like at the beginning we're 7 months into the presidency, and it's been rough. And I really feel like Donald Trump tried to unify not just the Republican Party by taking in somebody like Reince Priebus, but I really feel like he tried to say, okay, people that represent, okay, deep state, or okay, the power structures in place, the establishment of Republican Party, the establishment of the Democrat Party, okay. Let's see if we can make a deal. Let's see if we can try to find some common ground and move forward accordingly. And I feel like 7 months in, we have our answer. And it's just, I feel like 7 months in, we have our answer. And the answer is like, no, the people, the status quo. I mean, you look at the employment numbers in Washington, D.C., they have become accustomed to taking so much of our money, sending it to Washington, D.C., and enriching themselves. And that's just a small symptom, by the way, of a larger problem. And they're just like, no, we're not going to do this. We're not going to allow you to be successful. And it's people in the Republican Party, it's people who are, lifetime government employees, and it's obviously the Democrats and the media complex. And if the leaks were to stop, I feel like it'd be huge. I feel almost as strongly about the Obamacare repeal and replacement bill. I've just been saying, whatever you do, Republicans, you got to make sure that premiums are lowered so people can actually afford to buy insurance. If you do that one thing, you won't have any electoral problems at all. I feel very strongly about that. I also feel strongly about, like, hey, why can't we get people around us that aren't going to, gossip? It's like high school. Like, how can you not find competent people that are just loyal and aren't going to talk about things they shouldn't be talking about? So anyway, there's some more news that just broke about all this. Oh, never mind. This is from the story. This story that I was just reading from, again, Ryan Lees over the New Yorker. Some very interesting quotes in this story. I guess alleged quotes about arguments that have gone back and forth between, I'm assuming, Reince Priebus and Scaramucci. Anyway, some of the stuff not really appropriate to read on the radio. Telephone number, if you want to call us or text us, 870-275-9799. That's 870-275-9799. I rarely talk about the national stuff, but I just felt the need to. So, this is a little scary. Headline, Sears, that's right, Sears is still around. Sears is now adding Alexa support to its Kenmore smart home appliances. Alexa, good luck keeping Sears from going out of business. Well, okay, so Alexa is Joe. What's Alexa? Just tell everybody what Alexa is in case people don't know it, because you're a millennial and you know more.
Alexa is an artificial intelligence similar to Siri that Amazon created. You can buy some Amazon products, like it's called an Echo Dot, which is like just a small disc thing, and then Echo's more of a tube-looking thing, but it's a big speaker.
Like a speaker.
Yeah, and you can talk to it, say, "Hey Alexa," and then it'll respond to you, and you like say, for instance, "Hey Alexa, play Bohemian Rhapsody," and it'll find it in Amazon's playlist or Amazon Music Store, and they'll play it for you.
Okay. So that's what Alexa is. So they want to integrate that into your appliances. But Joe, you're hearing me though. They want to integrate that.
Alexa, do I have ice cream in the freezer?
Into the exactly. Now, what's sad is I can think of maybe a handful of people that would say, "Over my dead body, I'm doing that." I can think of a handful of people that would say, are you aware of the surveillance state and the amount of, just the capabilities of the surveillance state? Why would you want them to know what you have in your refrigerator? Why would you want, and you say, well, I have nothing to hide. Well, yeah, okay, that's not the argument, guy. It's all about possibilities. Just because something never has happened doesn't mean it never will happen.
Yeah.
It's terrifying to me.
You were talking about people would say no way to that. I remember one time I saw this concept for a refrigerator.
Yeah.
No lie, it was a refrigerator with LED screens on the entire outside of the fridge with cameras inside that you could basically see what was inside your fridge without ever opening the door.
Do you know of any of your friends? How old are you again, Joe?
23.
All right. Do you know of any of your friends that would even like bat an eye at this? I mean, because think about this. Alexa.
I know at least one of my friends who would never bat an eye at this and would be like, "This is kind of cool.
This is amazing." Well, because it's like, Alexa, turn the air conditioning, set the temperature to 71 degrees. Alexa, turn the dishwasher on. Alexa, preheat the oven to 350 degrees. And from a convenience standpoint, that sounds amazing. Yeah. I mean, it really does. I have a smart TV, which I'm sure is, spying on me. But I have a smart TV, and we watch YouTube videos sometimes and Netflix or whatever. But you go to search for something and it's a microphone, and so you hit the search button and the first thing that says is the microphone's activated and you can just say what you want to search for. Instead of having to click, it's like you got a flip phone all over again, like 1, 2, 3. You got to get to the J, and then you got to get to the, You probably don't even remember what I'm talking about, do you, Joe? Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm glad.
My very first phone was a flip phone.
Yeah. So I just feel like we're to a point now, and I think, man, here in America, we're on a cliff. I just feel like we're on a cliff, but things like Alexa and things like integrated into your appliances and all the listening that's going on. It's like they want us to fall off the cliff, but they're going to use things like Alexa to just kind of make it like a hang glider. We're just we glide down the cliff, and at the bottom is the totalitarian goals of people who think they can live and control our lives better than we can make free choices for ourselves. You know what I mean? Anybody else feel that way? Am I the only one? Listen, Amazon's Alexa Assistant, this is from The Verge. Amazon's Alexa Assistant is now able to control an even wider range of home appliances. This is the beginning of Skynet, folks. I mean, it is. They're also working on robots, I mean, I'm sure Amazon is, but let's see. So smart appliances from Sears and its Kenmore brand are joining the list of hardware that can be used through voice commands to Amazon's Echo lineup of speakers and other Alexa-enabled devices. GE and Whirlpool have already integrated similar support across their respective products, and now the full line of Kenmore smart appliances, air conditioners, refrigerators, and more can be controlled with a new Alexa skill, Kenmore Smart. We're going to be the civilization on the spaceship in the movie WALL-E. Owners of connected Kenmore products can say commands like, Alexa, tell Kenmore Smart to set my air conditioner to 70 degrees, to make adjustments without having to walk over and do it the old-fashioned way with, buttons. Or with the remote that came with your air condition that always gets misplaced. Amazon will also be selling Sears Kenmore products directly with, which is a significant bit of good news, and a new sales channel for the struggling department store chain. The company has acknowledged substantial doubt about its future prospects, according to Bloomberg, after years of losses brought on its failing attempts to compete with retail competition, including Amazon's giant e-commerce presence. So, there you have it. Sears, Amazon's the new Sears. But we have to have the internet sales tax. I'd like to go on record and just state that I'd like to advocate for sales taxes while sitting next to attractive women. While I'm in my Wrangler blue jeans that make my booty look big. I'm still the same Dan Douglas, though. I'm still the same guy, with my fat body. He said that, not me. That's actually something he said. Didn't he say fat?
Yeah, he said
the same jeans going on the same fat body.
Yeah.
When he says body, it sounds like he's saying body. What's the definition of the word body? Is that's a word? Is it? What is that? Hang on a second. Oh, BAWDY. Yeah. What is it? Oh, no. What is it? Read it, Joe. What is it? It's what it says. What does it say? It's an adjective.
Yeah, it can be used as an adjective or a noun, but the adjective is dealing with sexual matters in a comical way, humorously indecent.
Well, there you go. Wow, that is such a coincidence. Man using the word fat body and talking about yeah. Anyway, the phone number if you want to call us or text us today, 870-275-9799. That's 870-275-9799. Hang on, before we go to break, though, I just want to. There's a story that I'm going to get to tomorrow that I didn't get to today. It's fascinating to me. The Gazette reporting Aziza Musa. Headline: Institute closer to a merger. This has to do with Crowley's Ridge Technical Institute and the government trying to force them to become a part of East Arkansas Community College. And the board has now voted to go ahead with it after Governor Asa Hutchinson appointed new people to the board, which has David Brown, the interim president at Crowley's Ridge Technical College, saying, quote, It is dirty politics at its best. You appoint all the people to the board, and you get a board majority, and boom, it's over. So we have the Crowley's Ridge Technical College interim president accusing Asa of dirty politics. I want to cover that story because I have several. I'm conflicted over it because they're saying we need to merge the colleges to save taxpayer money, but at the same time, the tuition differences between the two schools that are located right next to each other on the same campus are staggering to me. And wouldn't you know, the one that is significantly higher per credit hour is the one that qualifies for federal student loan aid. The one that is Crowley's Ridge Technical Institute, the one that is significantly cheaper per credit hour, like I think the article said something like $5 an hour, doesn't qualify for federal student loan. And I'm thinking, seems like our East Arkansas Community College needs to be absorbed into Crowley's Ridge Technical. I mean, I'm just saying, based on that, what does that say about the federal student loan program and how it does contribute to higher tuition? Because you always are going to have customers that can afford it because you got the government saying, we'll give you financial aid. Versus when you actually, I don't know. I'm really conflicted about it. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. 870-275-9799. Back in a moment.
If you would like information about advertising or supporting the Paul Harrell Program and Conduit Media Group, call 870-275-9755. Join the fight against big government and advance the preservation of liberty by calling 870-275-9755. The Paul Harrell Program, brought to you by Conduit Media Group.
Conservative legislation killed?
Or do you need policies enacted that ensure government growth?
Then you need to get
Nephewed. Hi, I'm nephew number 1 of uncle, nephew, and nephew, attorneys at law. I'm not a lawyer, but I am a senator.
And I'm nephew number 2, and I am a lawyer and also a senator.
Are you the victim of a recent accident in which the voters in your community mistakenly elected a limited government conservative who is now actually implementing the ideas he or she campaigned on?
That's right, nephew number 1. Don't be a victim of democratic elections any longer. At Uncle, Nephew, and Nephew, we are committed to killing limited government legislation and promoting bills that increase the size of government by using any tool at our disposal.
Because sometimes the truth of the matter is, principles get in the way of pragmatism.
Just listen to some of our great testimonials.
Ever since I've been using the nephews, all my special interests have been served. As long as you make sure your contract says lobbying services are prohibited, then the legal services of Uncle, Nephew, and Nephew are legal. Trust me, put the nephews on them.
It came out of nowhere. I was blindsided last election cycle when my well-funded and paid-for politician lost to some grassroots limited government voters. But then I hired the nephews, and they killed all the conservative policies the voters wanted. I got nephewed.
I got nephewed too, and so can you. Uncle, Nephew, and Nephew will accept compensation via campaign contributions. Put the nephews on them.
PHP Parody.
Hillary Clinton is coming out with a book that no one will buy. Her memoirs. It really should just be, there is such a thing as a political eulogy. That should be the title of it. My Political Eulogy is what the title of this book should say. So over at theblaze.com, title of Hillary Clinton's memoir revealed, and Twitter has a field day. Listen, look at this. We've got this up on our Facebook Live and YouTube pages. All right, so the title of the book is literally, quote, "What Happened?" End quote. No question mark or period. So it's kind of open-ended. She's like, "Oh, let me tell you what happened." Somebody tweets, new cover, title for Hillary Clinton's campaign memoir, "What Happened?" Release date September 12th. Yes, this is real. They can't believe that this is what she's. So keep going. What are some more tweets? People making fun of it. Oh man! So somebody photoshopped. They left "What Happened" in, and that's a good one. And then instead of Hillary Rodham Clinton on the front of the book, they just put an outline of the state of Wisconsin. What happened? And it's like, well, this is the answer. Wisconsin happened.
I think it's interesting how everyone's using her maiden name in her like.
That's her thing.
Like
it's
weird.
always been. Though.
I've never heard of that. Until recently.
Yeah. No, that's back in the 90s. It was Hillary Rodham Clinton. Hillary Rodham Clinton. Da 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 da. And then, the campaign. She's just Hillary Clinton. I don't know. Takes a village, right, Hillary? It takes several villages that make up, counties and cities, states to get enough electoral votes to get to the White House. Okay. They've just got this picture of Hillary, all these photos of Hillary from the campaign. What happened? Keep going. What else do we have? This is great stuff. Oh, it's just what happened. A picture of Anthony Weiner and Uma Abedin. Yeah. People are answering the question posed by the title of her book. Click on that video because it's just it's soundless. No, down right here. When she's in the orange prison jumpsuit. I mean, it's not really. What happened? Well, this is a tweet by Alex Griswold explaining what happened. That is the press conference where because she didn't hold any because she couldn't stand up. That is the press conference where she was asked about her server. And she said, "Did you have your server wiped?" And she said, "What, like with a cloth?" It's what she actually said in that press conference. Keep going. What else do we have? We're going to run out of time. Oh, that's a good one. Just a photo of the. What do you? Is that an emoji? What would you call that?
It's like it's an emoji, but it's a text-based emoji.
A text-based emoji of her like shrugging her shoulders.
Yeah.
Hillary Rodham Clinton, and then they've got another one. What happened? Where she falls down. If you keep scrolling, there's one where it's the photo of her passing out at the Memorial Day. Where she couldn't stand and they had to kind of drag her and put her in the meat wagon and drive her away. Anyway, folks, that's all the time we have today. I want to remind you that's a really funny article if you can check that out. Just Twitter, follow me on Twitter at Paul Harrell 1776 and search the people who are hashtagging what happened in relation to Hillary Clinton. It's good and it's a relief that she's not in the White House. Over at paulharrell.com, we have our Liberty Machine T-shirts. Buy them. They're $20. Shipping is free. That's paulharrell.com. And you click on store. And as always, you can get this program. You can get it at paulharrell.com, the video archives, or the podcast at SoundCloud as well as iTunes. We will see you tomorrow for Johnny Cash Friday. And it's the best day of the week. We listen to as much Cash music as we can, while at the same time peppering in the news and events of the day. We'll see you tomorrow. Arkansas, be safe.